I'm headed north, and my objective is before the sun goes down tonight to get a line in the Morrow River. And I'll share a little bit more about that here in just a little bit, but this is a spontaneous trip. Unfortunately, I'm headed to a funeral, but I'm going to use every opportunity to get a line in the water if I'm out and about, starting, well, it already started. So I jumped in that old Jeep I had for a short time and headed north from Arkansas up to south central Missouri, bypassed Lake of the Ozarks, one of the top 10 most dangerous lakes in the United States as it relates to deaths. That's something you don't see every day, a horse and buggy on the highway. Across the Burris Fork Creek, we fished that a little bit when I was a young kid with our granddad, but my destination was the Morrow River, and I wanted to get a line in it before the sun went down, and that's where my focus was. So I'm here in Montauk County, Missouri, just outside California, in a little spot that my brother Larry and I, Big Ace, fished up until about 1970. So it's been 53 years since I put a line in this water over here, and that was my goal for today, was to get that done. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't even know if there's anything in here other than catfish, and that's not what I'm going to fish for right now. But I'm going to give it a shot. Pretty cool. Right here's where we would have parked with our granddad all those years ago. Somewhere right in here. This was a whole lot brushier. Now it's beat down. This is probably a party spot for local kids, I imagine, but right down in there is where we would have fished. And as I recall, I don't remember any of these trees being here. So if they were small. But I'm gonna climb down in there and just get a line in the water. That was my objective. So I crawled down that creek bank. It was pretty brushy and buggy and stuff, but got down in there and didn't fish for a long time, but I did make several casts. And as I was looking around, and honestly, that's what I was thinking about. I really wasn't focused on catching fish. I was just thinking about those old days. But as I looked around and thought about it, I think we parked and fished a little further west of there. But nonetheless, the banks had grown up quite a bit over the years and had changed. And I'm sure that river channel had changed even a little bit. Well, unfortunately, it's a pretty rough old place down here. That water actually looks way better than what I thought it would. I thought it would be just real muddy, but it's actually pretty clear. But this place, there's several dead remains of deer that have been killed and left here, and the only reason I can think that they would do that here is these deer probably were poached and then dropped off here. But I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 remains from at least 3 or 4 deer, a bunch of bones, old beer cans and stuff, pretty nasty. It's a shame. Wasn't like that back when Granddad and Big Ace, and I think Mick came with us one time when he was old enough to come up here and spend a couple weeks in the summer with their grandparents. But this was one of our favorite fishing spots, and we sure pulled a lot of catfish out of there. But I suspect there's still a lot of fish in there if you get away from this bridge. But I made several casts, and there's a bunch of mosquitoes down there too. Anyway, no big deal. I'm not afraid of a few mosquitoes or a dead deer, but I'll come back here whenever I've got a canoe or kayak with me, and I'll paddle up and down this water here, and we'll refish this, and I'll be looking forward to that. I walked along that creek bank a little bit and just reflecting on the past, and really enjoyable. Had a great time doing that. But I did a little research on the Morrow, and it turns out it's got a lot of game fish in it and pretty good supply apparently. So I'm going to be going back. Anyway, I drove on into town, and as I came into town there, I drove by another old place we used to hang out as little kids, Proctor Park. Fished a few times in Proctor Lake, although I don't remember doing a lot of fishing there. But our great-grandfather, great-grandpa, he fished it apparently quite a bit back, in the days whenever there would have been no houses around it, and it was probably brushy and a lot different fishing than it is today. In fact, even when I was a kid back in the 60s and very early 70s, that lake was quite a bit different, no doubt about the same size, but it was not it wasn't groomed like it is now. It didn't have that riprap rock around it, and it's really a nice looking lake now. But same thing, I wasn't really focused on catching fish. I really just wanted to make some casts, get a bait in the water, and I mean, I was hoping to catch fish, don't get me wrong, but I didn't spend a lot of time, and I had limited time on this particular day. But anyway, and then I looked up and just kind of looking around that lake, and again, just thinking about those whole days. That pavilion over there, I think, is exactly in the same place and is his playground equipment and all. But I looked over and on the dam, I saw that flag, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'll walk over there, maybe make a couple of casts. And anyway, on the way over there, I came across this plaque, and it really just put a big exclamation point on this entire day. In memory of Lance Corporal Leon Duraps, United States Marine Corps. So I started thinking about that young man and his sacrifice, his family's sacrifice, his selfless service to our nation and to free nations around the world. And he didn't have to go join the Marine Corps, but he did. And I just couldn't get that young man off my mind. And when I started putting this video together, I thought, I'm going to see if I can find out a little information about his life. And so I keyed his name, Lance Corporal Leon Duraps. I keyed it in, Googled it, and it took me to this site. And I was just blown away at this young man's life. He was an awesome young man from an awesome family. And so I wanted to dedicate this short film to him and to his family.